What up, dudes? Mom and Cheater coming to you again. Welcome back to another review. As always, what is this? Episode 76? I think, guys. Um, this week was good. This was the final week for comics of October. I mean November. Excuse me. Once again, I'd like to wish my mentor, Blue Goblin's girlfriend, Jennifer, born in 2003. Uh, Happy birthday again. She had celebrated her birthday yesterday. Today is my bro's birthday, Hulk 93, turned 19. Good stuff, right? Um, but this was a good week again. There was some books that came out that I was looking forward to. One of them that came out of Dynamite, which I will get to soon enough. But final week of the books that came out for the final week of November. Let's kick them off, shall we? As always, uh, the lineup is Independent, Marvel, and then end it with DC. I'll change the lineup, present lineup next week for December, but stick with Independent. Pretty much three independent books, two from Dynamite, one from IDW. So we'll kick it off first with Green Hornet number 13. Still written by Phil Hester, and the cover is pretty much lives up to what goes on in Green Hornet. As you all know, what's been going on in Green Hornet is the mayor of Century City was killed on his first term. He didn't become mayor for one day. He was killed by this international terrorist in a sense that he has made his way into Century City. Basically now it is shown that Brit and Mulan have finally really embraced that they are in love with each other. So yeah, Green Hornet and Kato banging it to each other now. They finally admitted it, and we see that. However, they were dealing with some individuals in last issue that they were trying to figure out their weaponry. However, their weapons have a tracer on it, and the people that own the weapons came looking for them. So pretty much their base of operations was pretty much demolished in the process, and that's pretty much where this book is all about. Is taking the fight in their home area, in their home base. But now it's about time for Hornet to take it back and take it to the international criminal known as Gorbachev. I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. Very hard. I believe he's Czechoslovakian or he's Russian, but still good. All right, now we get to that book from Dynamite I was looking forward to when I heard about this. Written by Chris Robinson and painted completely by Alex freaking Ross. Yes, indeed. Boy, this was excellent. I enjoyed the hell out of this book. The setting takes place in 1938, and we are in New York City. Green Hornet and Kato have arrived in New York City. They're following the trail of somebody from Chicago, and that's where they run into the Shadow. And the Shadow, they fight. We see kind of the typical hero. I don't know you, you don't know me, so we're gonna fight real quick. We see Kato try to go after the Hornet, after the Shadow, and Shadow is able to just easily knock Kato off, and even Kato and the Hornet, like, they're really impressed at what they saw from the Shadow, especially Kato. We see Zoro in the beginning, but he's not in his costume. He's in his civvies, and it was kind of bad in a sense because the cops in this era was calling him a beaner. Now I'm not sure what term that means in the 30s, but I think it's a little stereotypical racial slur for him. Um, and they kind of arrest him for no charges, and that's where that's the basis of this, is that the justice system somehow is really corrupted, and that's why what brings all these characters together. We don't see the Spider until the end of the issue when he joins the fight with the Shadow and Green Hornet and Kato, and we know, and that's pretty much how the book ends. There are going to be more mass characters coming in, but basically the first issue was great. The artwork by Alex Ross was beautiful. Um, Before superheroes, there was a mask. Lives straight up to that monologue. Good stuff. If you have not picked this up, pick it up. All right. So we move on to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 16. Kevin Eastman is still telling the tale of Slash. Yeah, that's who that individual was that the Turtles was fighting, which I didn't want to spoil. But yeah, it's Slash. Um, and his object is to kill the Turtles. And he literally does it. He nearly wipes the Turtles out. Um, a big surprise in this came from Michelangelo. He was really, his character really, like, we saw a different side of his character in this. It's more like he wasn't like always the fun-loving dude. He was the younger brother protecting his older brothers. That's how I looked at it. It was really good. I was amazed at what they were doing with Mikey in this, and kind of showed that he doesn't like to hurt people. You know, he has a free spirit, and he always is willing to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. And that was something that was really good. Do the Turtles kill Slash? I won't spoil that. Um, we also see what the plans are for Krang and what he is planning with Baxter Stockman. Um, Pretty much, he wants to wipe out the neutrinos. He wants to wipe them out, just kill them, wipe them all out. That's his plan. And that's why he's using Baxter Stockman. We don't see any Shredder in this. We don't see Karai. It's all about the Turtles because they're actually looking for a new lair, and they might have found one, and unfortunately Slash tracked them down. Um, but it's the ending that really kind of was like, I thought that dude was dead. But yeah, it was. This was really good. Kevin Eastman still doing a fantastic job. Very good. All right, so we move on to Marvel, and we'll kick it off with is written and drawn by Chris Baccio. You guys know how I feel about Chris Baccio. Not really big on his artwork. But it was between Rogue, my lovely Rogue, and Natasha. They team up to battle a Sentinel, Rogue Sentinel. Um, it was good for most part. The best thing about it was where when Black Widow was trying to fight the Sentinel broke her hand, so she couldn't use her trigger finger. She was gonna use a high-powered rifle to shoot the Sentinel in like an area where it's weak. However, she was like, Rogue's got to do it, and Rogue's like, but I don't know how to shoot, and just Widow just kisses her. It was really funny. I like that. And Rogue was like, hey, wow, you're a good kisser. And also, spy secrets, cool. Like she got all, and she knew how to shoot a gun and everything like that. And that was pretty much that's the big pop of it. And of course, at the end, you see the girls in a spa, and they get a code from Captain America saying, code 245. I think that's a like some kind of just Avengers distress code. And they're like, let Danvers deal with it. It was funny. I thought that was funny. The other one is basically a story written by Peter David, and he has stars Iron Man and Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, and pretty much it's Iron Man wants Kitty to work for him at Tony Stark's Resilience, but she's all like, mm, I know I'm smart, but I like working at the school, and it's fine like that. However, Peter David brings up some continuity that was happening in Wolverine and X-Men. Remember when Kitty was pregnant with all those brood? They appear in this week because Kitty's sneezing a lot. She's like, achoo, achoo, achoo. And all of a sudden, these mini broods come out of her when they get in this area, and the brood get into Tony's armor, which was funny. However, we all know what Kitty, when she phases through electronics, what happens. So it kind of ended like that. Ended on a funny note because uh, Tony was like, so you could, she's like, what, damn, like, he's like, damn, so you're like my kryptonite. You're like Superman is weak against kryptonite. That's how you are to me. And she's like, yeah, pretty much. And he's like, oh. And then Kitty's like, well, I'll see myself out if that's okay. Yeah, we could still do lunch. I thought that was funny. Peter David does a good job. He did a very good job of a very team up in a bit. Issue 2 was good. I've been liking the X-Men and Avengers team ups. Beast is explaining to the younger X-Men from the past. Yes, it's Beast. Beast goes back to get them. He's explaining to them what's going on. He doesn't tell them that he is supposedly dying of another mutation that might be happening to him. He's not telling that. Uh, Now he's telling them what's going on. However, younger Jeannie is like, "I'm gonna get the professor. I don't like this." And Beast is like, don't get the professor. I'm telling you the truth. This like that. Scott, you gotta come back. Talk to yourself. Tell him, Scott's like, I would never hurt Professor Xavier and everything like that. Beast is like, Jean, read my mind. And she's like, I can't read. He's like, oh yeah, damn it, you don't learn how to do that till later on. And she's like, I can read minds. And so he's kind of like spoiling their future in a sense. But Beast goes outside. Now, how did he get in the past? He uses the time sphere that was created by Reed Richards and Doctor Doom, but modified a little bit by Hank himself. He even says that. And it was really good. And when they get to the present, the kids are looking all around like they're like, whoa, what is this? I mean, young Angel is like, I thought you said the world isn't is doomed. This looks like heaven. And Beast is like, welcome to the Jean Grey School of Higher Learning. And she's like, wait a minute. This is supposed to be the Xavier School of Higher Learning. Why is it named after me? I'll end it right there, guys. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but basically they get a rude awakening by a lot of stuff that goes on. I love the scene where Bobby runs into his older self. A lot of them are like, I don't want to know what I look like now, everything like that. It was Jean finds out what happens to her. It was really good, and I liked when Wolverine says it to the gang. He's like, that really was Jeannie. It really was her. It was good, but I won't spoil what happens to them or where they But it was this issue was better than the first. So Bendis he's still he did a good job. Another good job for Bendis. Once again, still got to keep that consistency going. But it does make you wonder, okay, when those two entities collide, what's going to happen? Good stuff. All right, moving on to another book I was very much loving. This was really good. Astonishing X-Men Annual #1. I think Christoph Gage writes this, but let me tell you right now, this book was all about really one person, John John Paul, right here, North Star. Yes, indeed, North Star. If you are not a fan of North Star, whether it's his powers are lame or because of his sexual orientation, get that out of your fucking heads right now, because he was superb in this issue. This was pretty much all about him. Um, Bottom line is, North Star is in Paris with his lover, his husband, I should say, on their honeymoon. The X-Men, the rest of his members come and was like, "Look, John Paul, we need your help. We, the Friends of Humanity, are targeting us and our loved ones, so we need you to use your super speed to protect everybody." Pretty much that's what he does, and find out, get their location. That's pretty much, and it goes from there. And then what also is good about it, how John Paul's husband started to question about should he still be with John Paul, or should John Paul still be an X-Men, and things like that. And you got all the other X-Men here talking about it, like what's the life of an X-Men, things like that. Gambit talking to I believe his lover's name is Michael. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. They're like, you know, get him out of the X-Men because it's not good if you want to. And you got Wolverine at the end basically saying like, look, you're strong enough, you're gonna survive, don't worry about it. Yeah, but Jean Paul really shining it. And then there's a backstory of a classic Alpha Flight story when pretty much Jean Paul came out of the closet and basically announced that he's gay, which took me back because I remember that issue very well. But this was just a really good annual. I loved it. Like I said, don't sleep on North Star, people. Good stuff. Next up, still keeping it in the X-Men family, Gambit #6. Okay, he's got 6 more issues to go. Hopefully, they don't cancel. By 13. The individual known as Kitch is still using Gambit, and what looks like he wants Gambit to steal Excalibur, sword Excalibur, from one of the uh, MI13 members who has it. It's more than that, and it's like a cat and mouse game between them, between Gambit and uh, Kitch. I'm hoping I'm saying his name right. I think it's pronounced some way because I think he's Russian, but that's how they pronounce it's Cich. So I hope I'm pronouncing it right. But it's more than that, and we find out later on that it was just a ruse. But it's still, Gambit is still at the mercy of MI13 and Pete Wisdom. I thought it was funny when Gambit was kind of macking or putting his charm on his LeBeau. I like to say his LeBeau charm on the Queen herself. That was kind of funny. It was still good though. No. All right. Bendis's last issue of New Avengers 34. Diodata and a couple of other artists are in this book. Um, so what happened? If you remember when I talked about what happened at the last issue, Daniel Drum, aka uh, Doctor Brother Voodoo's brother, has is blaming Doctor Strange for the death of his brother, and basically he's able to possess all the people. He's he's possessed all the Avengers, and he's fighting them, using them to fight Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange challenged Daniel to a fight to the death. Um, and that's pretty much it. This is just an all-out battle with Doctor Strange versus nearly both factions of the Avengers, the the A team and the B team. The A team being the original Avengers, and the B team being the new Avengers. And I must say, Doctor Strange pretty much handles them. Not all of them are possessed. For example, Vision can't be possessed. Daniel tries to jump and he's like, I don't. He's like, you fool! I'm an automaton. I don't have a soul. I don't have that. You can't possess me and things like that. And Vision does a lot of good work in this because he throws a lot of the heavy hitters out of the vicinity so Daniel Drum can't possess them. So Red Hulk, he tosses Red Hulk, tosses Thor. He's trying to get all the heavy hitters of the Avengers out of the way while Doctor Strange deals with everything. Now, Doctor Strange is not one for using the dark arts, right? What he does, he uses them because I remember he was telling Daniel, he's like, you seem to think that you're fighting Doctor Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme. I'm not the Sorcerer Supreme anymore. And you see him, and I would never use the dark arts, black magic. But he starts using it. And that's how he's able to beat Daniel Drum. Luke Cage does come back to help, which was good to see Cage come back. And unfortunately, they are able to defeat Daniel Drum. Um, and all and behold, this is where it gets really good. For me, the Ancient One and Damien Hellstrom, who supposedly died, is alive. He's not dead. He basically comes and was like, he comes with the Ancient One, the teacher of Doctor Strange. And Doctor Strange turns, and Ancient One's there, Stephen Strange, and Ancient One. And he's telling everybody, this was my teacher. This is the one that taught me. And he's like, yeah, but I haven't taught you everything. You learned the dark arts without me, not on purpose. You never used them, everything like that. But basically, because of that, because of what he did to protect his friends and the Avengers, everything like that, Strange. And once again, for all you Doctor Strange fans out there, he is once again the Sorcerer Supreme. A title he should have never lost in the first place. Um, and of course, Luke and Jessica and all of them saying their goodbyes to the Avengers. Luke is in semi-retirement now. Um, as a Luke Cage fan, that's kind of sad. But I think that's more Bendis writing because it's Bendis who really turned Luke Cage around and made him that one of those top Marvel characters now. And I think it's kind of like he doesn't want nobody touching him right now. But it kind of shows that Luke's gonna go into retirement, a little bit semi-retirement, to take care of his kid and his wife. Take care of baby Danielle, but he does give like hints like, I might start the Heroes for Hire up again. Things like that. It was kind of funny. Um, the funniest part was Luke was like, "Hey Stark, you got $5 on you?" And Tony's like, "Yeah, I think I do. Here, you just brought back the Avengers Mansion." And he's like, "Well, wait a minute. I sold it for you for $1." And yeah, you did. And I just made a good profit. It was like, I thought that was funny. They do pay homage to Victoria Hand, who did die. She did die, and they got a statue of her now in the Avengers memorial site on the Avengers ground. Um, since I am on Tumblr, I was talking to somebody I follow on Tumblr, and she kind of hated this book because of some of the characters that died. Victoria Hand, people like that. It was kind of really bad to hear that. But I enjoyed it for what it was. Um, Secret Avengers number 34. Uh, Remender still does a pretty good job in still the coming of the robots. Bottom line is the robots are invading. They destroyed the Secret Avengers home base. Flash and Valkyrie are holding on for Flash is live. He's nearly being sucked out into outer space. The symbiote's not with him. Valkyrie is just floating out in space, kind of tucked in a fetal position because she's naked because her and Flash were, getting it on. Yeah, Flash and Valkyrie are dating now. That's so what a rebound for Flash. He goes from Betty Brant to a goddess. That's kind of cool. Um, and that's pretty basically that's all pretty much all it's about. You're seeing the comings of the machines. They're about to set something off really bad. um as for Hawkeye and Captain Britain, they're kind of trapped in this other verse where all these, as you can see here, all these like creatures are like zombie Punisher and a werewolf Captain America and a vampire like Wolverine up there. Jason Aaron's and Thor, God of Thunder #2. Oh my freaking God, this was so good. This was better than another book issue that was better than the first. Um, Once again, this book takes place. It's really good how Aaron's is doing it. It's taking place. We're seeing Thor when he was younger, before he had younger. Is Dagger, Dagger, yeah, Dagger. He spells it Dagr, and we see him fight Thor. And in his younger Thor right here, this Thor on the cover with the axe. And he's looked menacing. He looks badass. Matter of fact, you want to see what he looks like, guys? I'll show him. He looks kind of cool. Kind of cool. Like his design. Um, Ribbit's artwork makes him look really good. Um, Let me see if we could show right there. That cloak, black cloak guy right there, fighting Thor. Um, this is younger Thor. So when he was fighting him, guys, uh, remember Thor's he's fought a lot of battles, but he's still young and kind of inexperienced. And even Dagger even says it. See, you're used to fighting people that once they see you, they quiver in fear of you. They won't really fight, but I'm not scared of you, Godling, Asgardian, and I'm fighting you. And at one point, uh, he stabs Thor in the back. Thor's falling. They're in the sky fighting. And next thing you know, he asks Thor, by the way, Asgardian, what kind of god are you? What do you represent? And Thor says, thunder. Booyah! And he just shocks him. I thought that was really cool. And that's pretty much the majority of the book. But then it goes back into the present where we see Thor giving the other those gods that he found a proper burial and basically saying that, mark my words, I will avenge you, fellow gods. And once again, Thor #2, Aaron's, sir, good job. I was very much impressed. Keep up the good work. This has a very much old school feel to it. I think Aaron's did a little backtrack and looked at a lot of Kirby and Lee's Thor because that's kind of what this feels like a little bit. Um, Red Skull did. Now, Is this the original Red Skull? No. That's what I'll tell you right now. No, it's not the Red Skull. This is a this is a clone Red Skull that was put into effect back in the 40s that was created by Armanzola. The Red Skull told Armanzola to, just in case the war doesn't go his way and everything like that, Hitler screws up and things like that, clone, make a clone body of him and put him in the, suspended animation for 70 years or so. He woke up, this would happen, and we got to see this now. Basically, Cap is telling Wolverine finally makes an appearance in this, after what happened. They realized that Avalanche wasn't himself. That's who they were fighting in the first one. And mutants aren't bad. And kind of Wolverine has kind of a problem with that. He's like, oh, so you're gonna put the brother of the mutant that tried to wipe everyone, as the face of the mutant population. And he kind of has a problem with that. But then I love what Thor says. Thor once again never saw the conflict between humans and mutants as something that would escalate to complete devastation. He always thought that it would ride it out for a while and then there would be peace. But now he said basically this enemy that has done this has gained the full attention of the God of Thunder now. And I was like, oh shit. Okay, Thor is not messing around. When Thor says stuff like that, when you got the attention of the God of Thunder, you better be watching out. Um, won't spoil that. You just have to read it to figure it out. But let me just tell you, this Red Skull now, with what he has, it's not playing, dudes. Not playing at all. Guy's arm. He put this guy's arm in a wrench, and he hurt it so badly that now this guy, his arms don't really, his left arm or his right arm doesn't really work as well as it used to. Um, Flash is having bad dreams, or the symbiote is really becoming something more than he's bargained for. Um, I mean, Flash even goes on to talk to Peter once again. He's like, Peter, did I really hurt you or bother you too much in high school? And Peter comes out and is like, Flash, I'm going to be honest with you. Look, you were an asshole. You were a jerk in high school. there were days that I didn't want to come to school, and I love school. And there were days I didn't want to go in the bathroom because I was scared I was going to run into you. You know, things like that. I ate alone. I did this, and we kind of saw that when Flash went to go visit the person that he kind of bullied. He. It turns out this guy was gay, and Flash even talks about it. I didn't even know what gay meant back then, but I just anybody smaller than me that wasn't big as me, I bullied. And his lover, his husband, goes on to tell him like, I think he said he's decrepit now. I was like, oh man. And but Flash is like, I can hear that. He didn't say it, but you know he's telling us. He's like they're trying to be quiet, but I can still hear him talking. Um, but basically the bottom line is, um, at the end of the book, which I was saying when he was talking to Peter, he's like, look, I think it's time for a new change of scenery, Peter. I'm leaving New York City for good. And yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on now. Basically, Flash is going to be leaving New York. Venom, he's going to be, where is he going to be? And he's going to be in Philly. So for all my viewers out there that may be from the Pennsylvania area or Philly itself, big ups to Philly. Um, and we finally get to see his Aquaman's brother for the first time. In the book, they don't really show him; they just keep him in the shadows. But I think we all should know what he looks like. Um, and it's basically his brother talking about like you kind of. He says, "Brother, I love you, but look, you chose the surface world over us and everything like that." You know, it was kind of looking at it like, dude, this is your brother. Like, come on, like, you know, uh, excuse me, Arthur is still trying to figure out why did Black Manta want, who hired Black Manta to raid that, the artifacts that he found, everything like that. It was really kind of getting into that. Uh, and we see Black Manta in, like I said, Throne of Atlantis will be running through Aquaman and Justice League. So we'll look forward to seeing that where that story arc goes. Indeed, but it was still good. But I think out of the DC books, my favorite is coming up soon. Once again, I haven't gotten there to it yet. But let's go to Batman: The Dark Knight. Greg Hurwitz, David Finch, of course. Still dealing with the Scarecrow in this. Good stuff. Uh, Scarecrow is fighting, literally fighting Batman. I'm talking hand to hand because Batman is still has the effects of that toxin, that new toxin, so he can't really fight it off. Uh, it becomes so. What really impressed me the most is Damian. Damian in this book is shown that Batman has been gone longer than the book has portrayed it to be, bestowed it to be. And pushed back to the Stone Age. In this book, we kind of see Damian being that loving son and worrying about his father. He even tells Batman, he's like, when they're back at Wayne Manor, he's like, I was out every night looking for you. He doesn't say father, but you literally see him concerned. And Bruce even says, I'm glad you're here. Puts his hand on his son, and a tear comes out of Damien's eye. And I'm like, that's what's up. That's what's up. That's what I want to see. I don't always want to see the hard Damien. I want to see him. His emotions are blocked. He's a figure of granite. I want to see that there's a heart beating behind that, and he does love his father. You know what I'm saying? I like that. Um, but it's not over between DC book that I love. That was if I do picks of the week, this would have been my favorite out of DC books. The Flash, number 14. Yeah. In depth into how the gorillas of Gorilla City became who they are, which was fine. We get more into we see the rogues fighting the gorillas, and Glider and her brother Captain Cold are trying to figure out, kind of having this, you know, superior complex. Like, okay, I'm the leader, you know, deal with this and everything like that. Um, without spoiling too much, let's just say Barry's identity gets discovered by somebody. To Red Lanterns. 14, this is still continuing the rise of the Third Army. And this is done by Peter Milligan and Miguel Sep- Sepulveda. I hope I'm saying his name right. Once again, is the artist on this. And the Atrocitus and his Red Lanterns are still dealing with the Third Army. Rancor has a big role in this because he's kind of questioning once again, the rage, and he wants to help, and and some of the people being taken over, and Atrocitus is telling him like, Rancor, human, kill her, and he's like, she's still in there. He's like, you kill her now, I'll rip your head off, things like that. It was getting to that point. Um, that that cover kind of is really much an example of it, but it's getting really dire to the point where Atrocitus starts telling his Red Lanterns like, okay, we got to figure this out. So I'm gonna split you up into teams. And he's like, Rancor, you go back to Earth with Belize. She'll help you. Just make sure that Stormwatch doesn't follow you or anything like that. And once Stormwatch is mentioned, uh, Atrocitus, I'm forgetting the cat's name. He remembers when Midnighter punched him, and he says, Midnighter, revenge. So he kind of follows them back to Earth, which is kind of interesting. They don't know he's behind them, but Rancor and Belize don't know that the cat, I'm forgetting the cat's name, is behind him. But he's just like, revenge, revenge, revenge. It was kind of interesting. Um, But it gets really interesting in the end. Once again, don't want to spoil it. Just have to read it. Sorry guys, I can't spoil everything for you. I'm sorry. Uh, Moving on to Superman, number 14. This is still the Hell on Earth story arc. Scott Lobdell and Keith Daily Planet. I say Daily People. But Clark is like, why? Why should I apologize for something I'm right about? You know, things like that and everything like that. And then all of a sudden, Clark tells him, and you should have told me if we're such friends and teammates, you know, because Lois starts thinking the reason why Clark quit is because they used to be a team. And he's like, that ain't the real reason. But if we're such good friends, why didn't you tell me that you were moving in with your boyfriend and everything like that? And I defined that, and Lois was like, how did you know that? Remember, he was watching Lois text on her phone. He uses X-ray vision to see what they were texting. But later on, Lois asks him, okay, so who's the girl? And he's like, what? He's like, who's? Come on, there's somebody out there. And he's like, what's her name? Where'd you meet? And he's like, well, I don't. And then you see what Clark is thinking about. He's thinking about Wonder Woman, that kiss when him and Wonder Woman, you know, and all of a sudden Kara walks in, and Lois thinks the girl is Kara, and she's like, "Your girlfriend's in the cosplays, huh?" And I thought that was could be a trick. He's not really all on board of it. He's like, this could be a trap, blah blah blah. And he meets him, and then Hell is trying to almost kills Superboy again. You know, he's like, should I kill the clone? He's choking and he's shooting. It's like, no, what the hell are you? And they start to fight, and it gets kind of that point. Um, that cover pretty much sums it up too. That's pretty much the fight. He's just as strong as Superman, and he's tells Superman, "You're nothing to me. I don't fear you. You're not an obstacle. If I need to deal with you, take you out, I'll take you out." You know, he's basically saying he's gonna turn Earth into the new Krypton. Sebastian Clark. There we go. They, you know, Calvin has agreed to help Sebastian Clark to take out, you know, end the Court of Owls, and they come to this hotel, which is also a stopping ground for where the Court of Owls basically have a lot of their wealth, a lot of their their money and everything like that, with their finances, and pretty much they want to destroy it. However, Sebastian Clark lies to Calvin and tells him a little bit of a lie, and he was talking about, we're really here to get this map. There was no map, and basically Calvin is kind of he's pissed off about it. He's like, after he gets out. Now there was a Talon in there that was left over. He was the owner's son, the son of the hotel. The hotel that they're in. He's the son of the worthy. These are kind of the ultimate Talons, and they bring out one of the Talons that really almost turned against him. Like he killed a couple of the Court of Owl members as well, just to deal with him. But that was pretty much it. But once again, another solid issue for Talon. Good stuff. And last but not least, we go to and that's pretty much how it's all about. However, Red Robin Tim is more like, Tim, he's like, Cassie, I can't let you back on the team. I can't trust you. And I love how, Cassie comes out and says, you're talking to me about trust. You don't even know your real name, Red Robin. Is like, Tim, she's got a point. Like, you're not even telling everybody your real name.